the CBS News special report. I'm Opal in New York. Former New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg has just announced he is quitting the Democratic presidential race. That follows a string of third and fourth place finishes in yesterday's Super Tuesday primaries. The first contestant of the campaign where Bloomberg was actually on the ballot, and now he is out. The only contest he won yesterday was the Democratic caucus in American Samoa. Bloomberg, one of the world's richest people, spent hundreds of millions of dollars of his own money on a campaign that lasted only 3.5 months. Ed O'Keefe is in Washington for us. Ed, well, let's do the postmortem. What went wrong for Bloomberg?
Well, let's read from his statement explaining why he thinks it went wrong. He says in part here this morning, 3 months ago, I entered the race for president to defeat Donald Trump. Today, I am leaving the race for the same reason, to defeat Donald Trump, because it is clear to me that staying in would make achieving that goal more difficult. I'm a believer in using data to inform decisions, he says. After yesterday's results, the delegate math has become virtually impossible, and a viable path to the nomination no longer exists. But I remain clear-eyed about my overriding objective, victory in November. Not for me, but for our country. So that the statement goes on, and he says that he will be endorsing Joe Biden for president. That, once again now, closes in the moderate wing of the Democratic Party behind the former vice president, who had an incredible night. But Bloomberg getting out that quickly is a signal that, as he says, he did the math this morning with his team. Anything Bloomberg does is data-driven, and they could see that clearly there was no hope. The fact that Virginia and North Carolina especially went so decisively last night for Biden with no viability for Bloomberg was a signal that it simply just wasn't going to work.
Ed, what do you think is likely to happen to the extraordinary campaign apparatus that Bloomberg has put together? What is it, some 2,400 staffers across 40-some-odd states?
As of last night, he'd spent about $560 million so far, Anthony, $233 million of that in the Super Tuesday states. He has said that the majority of his staff that he's now built across the country would continue on. Many of those staffers are field organizers, or the kinds of people that go out and figure out where to find votes for a candidate or a cause. He has said that he would turn his operation over to the presumptive nominee who would eventually be able to defeat President Trump. Bernie Sanders has not necessarily said he would like that support. Joe Biden hasn't said it explicitly, but certainly we know could use the help, at least from a financial sense. So we'll see now in the coming days whether Bloomberg just immediately starts running attack ads against the president, whether he runs, ads affirming support for Biden specifically. That's unclear. But part of the reason why these thousands of people were willing to take jobs with Bloomberg was A, job security through Election Day, which, not for nothing for political workers is a big deal, but B, also the generous salaries and benefits that they've been getting as well.
So, Ed, are you surprised that he dropped out so quickly? He had said all along that even if it didn't go his way, Super Tuesday, that he would continue to stay in the race. But I think he also got a big shot of reality, a dose of reality, and said that now this is no longer making sense for him to do this. And do you think that he will continue to financially support maybe now Joe Biden, to follow up on Anthony's question?
Yeah, again, if he keeps his word, then that is the plan, to continue spending money to defeat the president. Again, whether he does it explicitly for Biden or whether he does it just designed to bring down the numbers for the president remains to be seen. But as you said, Gail, it's exactly that. They looked at the numbers last night. They realized that there's just no hope at this point. That 402 delegates that the former vice president has, and Bloomberg's still back with just a few dozen, is a sign at this point that it just won't happen, because the vice president now has momentum in big places like Michigan, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, places where he's bound to do well because Democrats like him do. And so why not just get out of the way, help make it happen for Biden, and see if he's able to put Senator Sanders away?
It's ironic to me because he got in the race because Joe Biden wasn't doing well at the time, and he thought that he would be the one that would sort of save the Democratic Party.
That was another piece of the calculus that definitely had to be breaking in his way, and it isn't now that Biden's doing so well.
To give an idea of just what this could mean to Joe Biden, if he picks up Bloomberg's endorsement and Bloomberg's staff, there are 2,400 workers on the Bloomberg campaign, spread across 43 states. And as we were reporting this morning, in Virginia, a primary state that Joe Biden won last night, he had as little as a single field office opened up. So if you're Bernie Sanders and you're hearing now that Michael Bloomberg may be taking an operation of that scale and putting it behind your primary competitor, what do you do to keep this a competitive race?
Well, Sanders is going to continue to plow on, no doubt. He's been able to raise significant sums of money. Is out this morning with 3 new television ads designed to make this now a binary choice between Sanders, who says he wants to protect and expand benefits programs like Social Security, whereas the former vice president, as a senator back in the 1990s, was supportive of scaling back. So you'll see a traditional fight over things like the future of Social Security. But one other thing Sanders is doing now in a new ad this morning is he's using the words and likeness of former President Obama, who in just very brief public remarks has said things good enough, frankly, to appear in a 30-second television ad. And it's kind of incredible because, remember, Sanders has been running against the Democratic establishment. Well, who, of course, is a member of the Democratic establishment but the former president? We'll see how this contest continues to shake out. And again, reinforcing how bad an investment this was for Bloomberg. He spent $17.3 million in Virginia, $320,000 spent by Biden. Money can't buy you the presidency.
All right. That's what Major said last night. Money can't buy you love. Thank you very much, Ed O'Keefe. Our coverage will continue on our 24-hour streaming network, that's CBSN, and you can watch it at cbsnews.com or on our CBS News app.
There will be more to come on your local news on this CBS station and tonight on the CBS Evening News with Norah O'Donnell. Many of you will return now to CBS This Morning.
This has been a CBS News special report. I'm Tony DeCopel with Gail King and Anthony Mason. CBS News here in New York. Thank you for watching.
For news 24 hours a day, go to cbsnews.com.